guys, welcome back. I'm here with Grant. It is Monday morning and we are still waiting on new releases for this week because of the snow we received, so everything's still backed up. So we thought that we would go through, these guys are going to MegaCon this weekend, so we're going to go through a little bit of that and what that entails and what they're going to be doing. So
Yes,
Grant?
absolutely, yeah. If you're wondering what is MegaCon, you may be like me last year when McKay drugged me down there, kicking and screaming. MegaCon was actually my first con last year. I had never been to a con. MegaCon is essentially like, for our local people, it's like Fanboy on steroids. It is insane. It is filled with celebrities, comic creators, retailers, store exclusive guys are there. What's really fascinating I discovered last year is that at these conventions, they all know each other.
Yeah.
Like, they go to these shows, they all know each other. There's a whole camaraderie there, and kind of a lot of unspoken rules that you don't really have to codify, like how you treat people once you don't. What's really cool about these creators, too, is their agents are there. And so, while at conventions like San Diego Comic-Con or MegaCon, there's the retailer side. There's the going up and buying exclusive covers, meeting your favorite celebrity or favorite creator. And then there's the behind-the-scenes stuff that's going on. While this is all happening, these agents and these vendors are going back and forth, trading original art, getting sketches done, making agreements, doing private signings, meeting backstage. It is so cool. That's actually what we started getting into last year a bit. For instance, Frank Miller signatures, they were ticket only. But because some of our retailer friends down there, we were able to arrange a private signing. I may have had to pay a little bit more to his agent, but hey, it happens. Actually, last year, too, when we went to MegaCon, when we first started bringing back our signature series slabs, and that really took off here and kind of became one of our little things we're known for here, is having all the signature books. And we've been trying to do that for other shows when we take our customers' books to shows to get signatures and in some cases get them graded and get them the gold label. It's also how we started becoming CGC witnesses so that we can bring artists here and then also get the gold label CGC witness bit. So it's been the start of a really interesting journey since last year. So we're really excited to go back to MegaCon and kind of where it all began. We got a little bit more better footing what we're doing down there now instead of just running around like crazy. We got a nicer hotel this time too because Ryan had to sleep on the floor last year. And again, the next time. And the next time. So yeah, it was, so we're all really excited. It'll be an interesting trip.
Well, I know I am super excited to hear about all these stories. I remember last time we were getting updates almost hourly of what was going on there.
Gosh.
And hopefully I'll be able to join you guys in a future con sometime soon.
Oh, absolutely. We'll be taking everyone that works here is going to be going to cons eventually because with our partners at Captured, we're going to start doing more shows. So everyone here is going to be going on a trip at some point or another.
That is good to hear.
Yeah.
And guys, that's all we wanted to talk about, the new releases for this upcoming week. But due to the snowstorm, we're still seeing delays on that. So figured we'd come and just talk about some of the new issues that have come out recently and talk about the new exciting things. And this week we're actually going to be giving away 2 of Nirvana's store variants that they have for Cobra Commando number 1 and Duke number 1. So you just need to do 3 things. Just subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment down below, and we'll pick out a winner of that and we'll get a hold of you. You just need to be in the United States and we will ship it to you. So I'm going to hand it over to these guys, let them talk about the new issues as I've only read one. So here we go. Guys, take it away.
Ultimate Spider-Man 1?
Ultimate Spider-Man 1.
Let's get into it.
Well, the thing that's particularly interesting about Ultimate Spider-Man 1 is that despite everybody, so many people fussing about, oh, it's just run up called speculators and such, is that this book didn't move for 3 days.
Yeah.
I mean, it sold.
I remember asking you if how the sales had gone on, and you were like, nothing great, but I bet we'll be sold out by the end of the weekend.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, they
But
were.
everybody went on about, oh, speculators driving up the price. Well, not when the book doesn't go up in price for 3 days.
Sure.
You know, the Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, the book was still covered on eBay, online. Saturday, 15, 20, 25, 30. By the end of the day, $30. A week later, 55, 60 bucks. Starting to cool back down into the 50s. But that only happens, and I'm not saying speculation doesn't have something to do with it, and FOMO, as the chuckleheads online like to stir up.
Mhm.
But it's about that it didn't move until people read it.
Sure.
They didn't get a chance to read it until Friday, Saturday morning, and it resonated with people, and that's a special thing. That's not a thing that happens when you wake up a fan base like a Spider-Man fan base
Sure.
or a Batman fan base, where there's so many people have like an emotional investment in those characters, and you touch them that way. So this is very organic. I'm not saying that there's not some sense of, of the
A
spec
sense of some
stuff.
FOMO, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
But the guys online that are screaming this is going to be go back to a $5 or $10 book in 4 months, they're right.
Yeah, sure.
What people wanted was the main book. They wanted the A cover. They wanted the real book.
Sure.
And I mean, that's it. The other variants they had, the Stegman variant that has the family hot book. People want this story.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the story's phenomenal.
The story's
Story's
great. I
Like
loved
it's
it was very aware of itself in a good way. Like the some of the comedic beats, like Parker.
Yeah.
Oh, hey Peter, how are you?
I love the relationship between Ben and Jonah. I really like that relationship a lot.
The things that I'm really interested in seeing going forward is if they continue to keep that appreciation for the fan base that's. Of course, I understand that they've written this thing before we reacted to it, obviously.
Sure.
But certain notes of the Spider-Man story, are we still going to hit those notes?
Sure.
Ben's still alive. Aunt May's dead, but it wasn't Peter's fault. So does he still have that sense of responsibility?
Exactly.
Another beat that I'm really interested in seeing happen is, will Peter be as inclined to be as reckless and wisecracking when he's got kids at home?
Sure.
Or
Check himself a little
like his
bit more.
responsibilities are kind of in a different spot than they are than what people
Right.
are used to. Yeah.
So it's
He's going into Spider-Man with already a laundry list of responsibilities.
So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
I'm excited. I already subscribed to the entire series so far.
Now, Josh had an interesting take on the rest of the Ultimate Universe.
As far as X-Men #1, I think it's going to be the same, just like Ultimate Spider-Man. And I think mainly because it's going to be a new team. I don't think it's going to be the team that you're used to seeing, like Cyclops, everything, just because it's brand new.
Sure.
And on top of that, you got Peach Momoko's right there.
That's true. I think that's the biggest seller because with Spider-Man, so many people just relate to that one character.
Yeah.
In X-Men, you get a whole group of characters.
Yes.
And I believe it's going to do gangbusters just as well. But Spider-Man's just so relatable in that I think that one's going to be the big one. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
X-Men's gonna be-
because I was just going to say, like, because right now, like, I think people are just wanting a good X-Men story.
Sure.
And because X-Men has been, I mean,
I haven't read X-Men in I can't tell you how long.
because it's
I don't know
like
where
it's
they're
just
at, what they're doing.
it's so saturated. Like you have to read 7 different stories to catch up on anything. But I think it's a great starting point for anybody that's wanting to start on X-Men and just get in on the ground floor with brand new characters and new story, and that way everybody's just on the same page.
Absolutely, I'm 100% into trying it out because I haven't read an X-Men book and I couldn't tell you how long. Just
People forget, late 80s and early 90s,
the number
the
one.
whole world lived for the X-Men.
X and X titles.
But it got complicated, and then they had to reboot it. And when you reboot it, and it's relatable, or not just relatable, but connected to the fan base for a moment, people lock onto it. But then for some reason, it always runs right back into too many titles, too much convolution.
Exactly.
I don't understand why they can't just try to keep a base.
Sure.
Like put a new paradigm out there, whether you're going back to the school, whether you're staying on an island or whatever the scenario is. There are plenty of good writers. Now, some of them are problematic now, but there doesn't have to be these people. But people like Joss Whedon, people who can write ensembles well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what we need right now.
Mm.
We need people who can handle multiple storylines and multiple characters.
Transformers by
Transformers, okay. I don't think
Wow.
I've ever read a Transformers book.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't think
if you
so.
if you haven't read Transformers and you're wanting to get into Transformers and you just want something that's just mind blowing, this right here.
Okay,
I have been a Transformers fan all my life.
sure. It was a little bit before my time.
And I've read the old stuff, you know, the newer stuff, and kind of like with X-Men, it gets so saturated because there's so much
There's
going
so
on.
much stuff out
This
there.
just goes back to basics.
Okay.
It's Autobots, Decepticons, duking it out.
Perfect.
There's no ends in between. That's it.
Gotcha.
But what's awesome about it is,
for blood and fuel.
literally, not to spoil anything, but I mean, you literally have Starscream just crushing individuals in his hand.
Perfect. That's what I want to see.
Yeah,
in a
and
Transformers book.
it's a little bit more. I don't want to say adult, but teen.
Sure.
Could read it.
Yeah.
But it's just it's really
a
something.
little bit more grounded.
Yeah, grounded. That's the word.
Tell us about how that's connected to G.I. Joe right now.
Oh yeah, and I mean, speaking of, Skybound also is doing G.I. Joe with Duke and Cobra Commander. What's the word I'm looking for? You don't need to read one to understand the other. You can go through and hey, say I just want to read Cobra Commander.
Sure.
Read it.
Just like Cobra Commander.
You
and
just
that's all
you want to
It's
read. Just read it. You're good. You don't have to buy this one. It's a good
standalone
It's a good
story.
standalone story. Yeah.
The art looks amazing.
Oh,
I
the
love
art's
that.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Just like I think this is what print is this? There it is. Fourth printing.
Fourth printing?
Yeah, fourth printing already.
Sure. So that book's selling like crazy.
Selling like
And that's
hotcakes.
part of the Energon universe.
Yeah, and that's part of the Energon universe. So
Gotcha, okay.
it started with Void Rivals,
Yeah.
which Void Rivals is really
Yes,
good.
yes.
Void Rivals, it went into Transformers, then into Duke, then into Cobra Commander. It's just they're all three. I mean, they're so well written.
And it's all by, is it all Joshua Williamson?
Yeah,
Okay.
Well, the thing that resonates with me about the Transformers book, or what I'd like to talk about the Transformers book, is that I think if I had to pick one person in modern comics that I think has got the potential to be this generation's just an absolute superstar, it's Daniel Warren Johnson.
Mm-hmm. That's who's writing Transformers, right?
That's who's writes and draws Transformers. He come up from Murder Falcon and Do a Powerbomb, which was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just a great guy and immensely talented. And I very much could see him being like this generation's like McFarlane.
Nice.
He's grounded. He's a fan. He hated that there wasn't a cool wrestling book out, so he went and made a cool wrestling book. He did the research. He's got this great kinetic style. And I know this sounds like a screwy way to explain him, but I've explained them before to customers as that his style is almost like a manga influenced, like Ditko style.
Okay.
He's very kinetic, like his pictures made. And it's a combination of a style that I absolutely love, which is Ditko-esque, and a style that didn't grow into, and it's a little harder for me to connect to, like the manga influence. But it just amazes me how he can tread both worlds with the same images.
Sure.
And I think he's got every opportunity for them to put him on Transformers, and he's just running with it,
Crushing it.
and more importantly, he's having fun.
Sure.
Because one of was it issue 1 or 2 where you got Optimus doing a German suplex on a.
Oh yeah, I think it's issue 2. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, he's even throwing little
wrestling bits in there.
little Easter eggs in there for his wrestling, for his Powerbomb people, and I'm just like, that's just unbelievably cool.
Nice.
But I hope for big things for him. I hope that a Marvel or DC let him run with whatever property he wants. I'd love to see a Daniel Warren Johnson Spider-Man book one day.
Hell yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Very nice.
Just let him go back to that. And there's something else we're going to be talking about is that we'll be going to the store. We're going to MegaCon next
Yeah,
week.
they're going to MegaCon this weekend.
But he's not going to be there, but he is going to be in Charlotte later in the year. And I can't wait to ask him, if Ditko was an influence or I'm really looking forward to that. Shows are going to be crazy this year.
Yeah.
I'm going to be jet setting more than Ric Flair this year. I'm going to be all over the country, hopefully.
Yeah. But I mean, speaking of this nostalgic books with Duke, Cobra Commander, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Thundercats is coming out also.
Oh yeah.
Now
That's
we
gonna be
pulled
a
off
good one.
a coup with that because I think 3 weeks from now we'll have Drew Moss,
Yep.
and he is
He's doing the interiors, right?
interior art on the new Thundercats book, which I heard this week has pre-orders pushing 200K, which is a big number.
Humongous number.
And then this is a great time to explain the difference between the nostalgia of the 90s and how it relates to now.
Yeah.
Is that top selling books in 92 to 95, 2 million, 4 million, 6 million copies of X-Men #1. 2024, 200K has our attention.
Yeah.
Oh, what I was going to say about the difference between nostalgically from the 90s to now is that, and I don't think enough people talk about this, everything in the 90s was mainly commercially art driven.
Oh, sure.
All of your big people were artists.
They wanted them on the covers. They wanted them big, action-packed.
Barely talked about, unless it was just an absolute, someone who just dominated like a Claremont, or there were only a handful of writers you ever talked about back then. Not like out there. Of course, there wasn't social media then either.
Sure.
But what's interesting is, all your superstars back then, you can name 100 of them, McFarlane, Liefeld, Lee, I mean, just artists. Have you noticed that has changed lately? That now comics are much more superstar driven by the writing.
Sure.
You don't talk that much about it. Now, I think a lot of that is, though, because most of the big artists are just cover artists. They're not doing interiors.
Oh, that's true.
So they have that purview, but they're not affecting the interior work. And I think that's why you've got somebody who are talking about Tom King and James Tynion and just so many different. Your superstars now are not the same as they were 30 years ago.
Sure.
Or much more, and the writing is substantially better than it ever was in the 90s.
I'm good.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us this week. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment down below for your chance to win these 2 Nirvana variants. And we will see you next week with a little bit of MegaCon.
Pumped about MegaCon.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not personally going, but I'm still pumped.
I'm not going either.
Oh, I'm going to come back with stories.
Yeah, so.
We're going to go do. I don't even know if I told Casimiro, I don't even know if I'm coming back or not. I told Ryan, I said, you're probably just going to have to haul my carcass back on top of the rent-a-car like a dead moose. Bring me back for the burial.
Well, thank you guys. We'll see y'all next week. Thanks.